Hi guys, Harry here, and welcome to my breakdown of Doctor Who Redacted Episode 8 Ghosts, which brings back a certain reptilian woman who lived in the dawn of time and has moved throughout the ages. But before we get into that, don't forget to subscribe, also leave a like and comment down below, and let's get into the video. So, Ghost starts the way Requiem ended, with Requiem warning Shauna and Cleo about there's something coming for her, she's coming for them, and also everyone in the world is in trouble, leading to the Doctor warning them about the ghosts. And then we get a transition into a song, The Handlebars by Finger and Grove, which we last heard in Angels, and it was when Shauna and Cleo were on the train together going to see Abby. However, even though there seems to be a romance between Shauna and Abby, there seems to be more scenes with Shauna and Cleo than Shauna and Abby, and they even like have a song together, Handlebars. I mean, they have a song together. I mean, it's so weird. But I suppose that's the way the loves get pulled apart, only to come back together in the final episode or the final minutes if it's like a movie. So maybe Shauna and Abby will finally get their song in the last episode. However, we'll get on to the main point of this episode, which is there are certain things coming from the past, like ghosts. But before we get into ghosts, Cleo gets a voicemail. She starts getting voicemails, and the first one she gets is from her mum, with the static sound picking up and playing a very prominent part in the first bit of it, which we can't really, which we can only just make out what she's saying, but it becomes clearer the more voicemails she gets from her mum. However, with the static sound picking up, Cleo is like, she knows that her mum is in danger, so Shauna and Cleo decide to go to the Powell estate, which of course is where Rose Tyler grew up and was living. That was the main part of Series 1 and Series 2. It was like base camp, and this is where Cleo has grown up. However, on the way to the Powell estate, again she gets another voicemail, which we learn later is a man named Steve, telling Cleo to check the orange juice. But Cleo has no idea what this could be about, what this means, and she doesn't know yet that these voicemails are voicemails from the past. But it gets a lot more obvious as this episode goes on. So, Shauna and Cleo arrive on the Powell estate, and Shauna says this feels mega dodgy, and Cleo agrees, saying that something is off. Cleo then says that she thinks she saw someone, someone all in black, and Shauna says, well, I don't know what's happening, I don't know who you saw, because it's like a ghost town in here. And Cleo says, yeah, it is. It's weird, but we should get to my mum, who lives on the 10th floor in that block there. And then Cleo also goes on to say, but I wished I lived in that block. And the block she wished she lived in was the same block as this woman, Sally Salter, born Stephen, a transgender woman who lived in the Powell estate and was friends with Mickey Smith. That's right, Rose Tyler's love interest in Series 1 and kind of Series 2. Her on-again, off-again boyfriend. And it's just so crazy to see that this is brought back. Because, I mean, really, Mickey Smith was quite a big player, and he's come back multiple times. So this is it's just insane to see this come back again in another way. The reason Cleo knows about Sally Salter is, of course, because she's transgender, and of course this was a big influence to Cleo when she was younger, as of course Cleo is obviously trans. However, she was a minor celebrity, as in 2002 she had a band called No Hot Ashes, and so despite being a minor celebrity, Sally was pushed out by her family, and she didn't have a place to go as she refused to move back in with her parents, saying that was Stephen's place. So she was keeping her stuff across 5 different flats in the Powell estate, like her clothes, her toothbrush, all that stuff, including in Mickey Smith's 1-bedroom flat. So maybe there was something going on between them, but it seems that they were just really good friends. And also, they were such good friends that she was also in another band called Bad Wolf with Mickey Smith. And all this information is in the novelisation of Rose, kind of like a prequel to the events of Rose, giving it more backstory into Series 1, especially the first episode, Rose. But this is all great stuff. It's like all this in one person backstory to Sally, giving a lot of drive towards Cleo, obviously being a trans woman. However, I did look on the website, and in the band The No Hot Ashes, it said that she had a band called The No Hot Ashes. She wasn't in a band called The No Hot Ashes, but Cleo says that she was in a band called The No Hot Ashes. So it's kind of like did she play for the No Hot Ashes, or did she only play for Bad Wolf? Of course, Bad Wolf was the writing that Rose left in the part in other ways to bring Rose to look into the time vortex to save the Doctor. But did she play for No Hot Ashes or only for Bad Wolf? I haven't read the Rose novelization, but I don't know. It's up to interpretation. If someone has both read the Rose novelization and obviously, of course, watched Ghost, drop in the comments below, please, if she played for both No Hot Ashes and Bad Wolf. However, Cleo says that she was really interested in Sally Salter, obviously, because she later on came out as trans, but her mum didn't really talk about her much, but whenever she talked about Sally, it was like she felt repulsed by Sally on a gut level. So maybe she didn't throw Cleo out because she wanted to, but because there's this own ingrained misogyny with herself on trans people. So maybe that's why Cleo's mum has been mean to Cleo about being trans. However, she has no idea what has happened to Sally, as it turns out that she isn't there too, but she likes to think that she's performing under a stage name somewhere. However, they hear footsteps. Well, Cleo hears footsteps, and Shauna says that she didn't hear anything, and she's not used to her being paranoid. And she's like, is this how she normally is? And it's just so funny because that Shauna is now the not paranoid one, and Cleo is. It's like they've been flipped in personalities, but it's just so funny to see that happen with those two friends. Cleo is on edge the whole time though, and she even gets scared by her own ringtone, as it turns out that she gets another voicemail from her mum, the same one from earlier, and we know that it's a voicemail from the past when Cleo still lived at home, as she goes, are you coming home? You can't stay out all day, or you're not going to stay out all day, are you? And Cleo is like, it seems familiar, but she still doesn't recognise or notice that it's a voicemail from the past, and it's just so weird to see that she still doesn't recognise it, but I suppose a lot has happened in her life. And going on to that, they're like, oh, well, we should wait out here, you need some tea in you need some coffee in you, but please, no caffeine, Cleo. That Shauna thinks that we should go to a cafe somewhere. And Cleo's like, oh yeah, there's a sandwich shop in the Powell estate, which I didn't know there was a sandwich shop, but maybe that's in the novelisation as well. But it's just good to see that it's like not just a place, a plot device that just made things happen in Doctor Who. It is a real leaving breathing council estate. So Cleo, again, as they're going into the sandwich shop, thinks she sees a person all in black with their face covered again, but by the time she alerts Shauna, the person has gone. Cleo again gets another voicemail, but this time it is from Jordan. Again, a past voicemail, which Cleo still doesn't recognise as a past voicemail. However, she's like infuriated, happy that she has heard from Jordan, and she tries to call Jordan, but again it goes to voicemail. And it's just, there's something, that is from the past, as the stuff Cleo says about the voicemails, but Cleo still doesn't recognise it. It's just very weird. However, Shauna and Cleo think something smells off in the sandwich shop, so Cleo goes to investigate, and she comes back and she goes into the back and she realises it's rotting food, and she says this to Shauna, and they both realise that no one has been in this sandwich shop for at least a couple of days, and to bring that smell, maybe it's a week. So all these people being redacted, of course the polar state would be a big part, but it's like there's no one here at all. I mean, there's a lot of flats and there is no one there. You think someone would not have noticed the Doctor, like Donna always being away when there's an alien attack. I mean, not everything happened in the polar state, but I mean, there's a lot to go on. Shauna then thinks she sees a couple of people walk past the window of the sandwich shop, but they look fuzzy, and she also said that they faded away. Cleo thinks these people have been redacted. However, Shauna doesn't remember the redacted people, which Cleo does say that she doesn't remember redacted people, so why is she remembering it now? Which means that they are probably the ghosts. If we're going with the Cybermen explanation, which I think is debunked, but I'll get onto that a bit later in the episode, it would make sense because they were all fuzzy, but you could make out that they were humanoid. However, so I think this is the ghosts, not the people being redacted. Again, Cleo gets a voicemail from her mum, again, the same one, and again, she gets a voicemail from the orange juice guy, and another voicemail shortly after that from a girl that she went to school with, asking when No Hot Ashes was playing, and now she realises that these voicemails are from the past, because that is obviously Sally Salter's band No Hot Ashes, a band that doesn't exist anymore in the present day. And then they come to the realisation as they look out the window and they see ghosts. Of course, this is what the Doctor warned them about, don't touch them, and that they are dangerous. Even Requiem was kind of warning them about it, and Cleo is like, what do? We should record it, and then Shauna is like, yeah, post it online, everyone needs to see this. And I thought, like, maybe do a live stream out of at least a couple of seconds to get it out, because then people will know it is live, and it can't be erased. Well, it probably could be, but then they'd have to erase more people. I don't know how much power they need to erase all these people. But Cleo is like, no, I'll phone the police, and they can sort it out. Now, normally in a lot of movies, especially horror movies, they don't phone the police, and you're like, well, why don't they? But Shauna and Cleo phone the police, and then 4 officers are near the power state, and they are dispatched to stop the attackers, as Shauna and Cleo described to the woman on the other end of the phone, obviously for the police service. However, they cannot stop the ghosts. So they turn up and tell the ghosts to get back, but again we hear this static noise, and the ghosts start to attack the police officers, and it is horrific as their screams from the ghosts ripping them apart get distorted into that static sound. They're getting redacted, but Shauna describes it as them getting ripped apart by white noise. It is insane. It is just so horrific. Also, there is a additional voice by Pip Gladwin, who is credited in this episode for additional voices. So maybe he is this the police officers, or this person on the phone, Leslie, who is coordinating Cleo on what to do and when the police officers will be turning up to deal with the attackers. However, he is just noted for additional voices on this, and he has also appeared in SOS and Lost with other additional voices, and he was voicing Agent Miller in Interrogation, the main interrogator in that episode. So as they see these police officers getting attacked and really getting killed, Shauna wants to leave, but Cleo is like, no, we gotta find my mum. So they go towards her flat. And Shauna and Cleo run into this lift, and they escape through that, just marginally getting away from a ghost, which Cleo calls out, sorry Casper, but this lift is in full capacity. Of course, a reference to Casper the Friendly Ghost. And also Shauna says, the powerless state is way scarier than you made it out to be. And Cleo replies, the ghosts are new, but they're not. As I said, the Cybermen were in the powerless state under the disguise of ghosts in series 2, the two-parter, the Army of Ghosts and Doomsday, and it's just like, it's so crazy. Like, Cleo, you were obviously in the powerless state back in 2006. You would have seen the ghosts. Shauna and Cleo are in this lift, and they have just escaped marginally again from the ghosts, as I said before, but Shauna is worrying about Abby, hoping she is okay, which shows that she does really care a lot, and I hope that they get their happy ending one way or another. But Abby isn't in this episode. It is in the description of Doctor Who Redacted Ghosts, in that description, that Abby and Osgood are watching the world get much quieter, as well as Shauna and Cleo dealing with ghosts. But she doesn't show up. There is only 2 mentions of Abby, and she doesn't appear at all in this episode, despite being credited, both in the description and also in the end when they're crediting all the actors. But she hasn't appeared in this, and this is the first episode where she doesn't appear. So maybe a couple of lines where we do go back to see Abby and Osgood were cut, but I don't know, it just seems a bit weird. However, then Shauna is the one to see the figure in black, which of course is not a ghost and will come in very close. We're almost finding out who this black figure is and who Requiem is. However, they get into Cleo's mum's flat, and it is revealed that the door is locked. However, on the phone is Cleo's mum, Monica, who of course is played by Sarah Tom, who returns after last appearing in episode 3, Lost, and like she's kind of on the phone and she says she's trapped somewhere, and instinctively she calls out to Cleo to help her, and it's not Jaden, it is Cleo, and all these people have called out to Cleo for help. So obviously there is something zeroing in on Cleo, and Cleo is definitely at the heart of this. And Cleo picks up the phone because it is, of course, her mum and she wants to help her. However, the static sound comes back, and Cleo's mum then says that she is right behind them, which is creepy, but also is something that Cleo wants to hear. She was looking for her mum and she might have finally found her. And the static sound picks up again, and they both look behind, Shauna and Cleo look behind themselves to see Cleo's mum's ghost. And Cleo instinctively wants to go to her. Her mum's ghost even says, I want a hug. However, Shauna stops her. And this shows how much Cleo really wants a relationship with her mum, despite leaving and not talking to her. She really wants to go to her mum, especially as her mum is calling her Cleo, which she has never called her before, which just makes her want to hug her even more. However, again, the doctor warned her about the ghosts. And Shauna picks up on this. Shauna says, no, the doctor warned us about the ghosts. That does not look like your mum, and we need you. Me, Abby, Jordan, we all need you. We all need you to help us bring us together and to find Jordan. And we can't do it without you, which shows how much Shauna really needs Cleo, especially as her and Abby have fallen out, and Cleo is the closest family she has now, and vice versa for Cleo, Shauna being the closest family she has now. However, it looks like Cleo is going to choose her mum, but before she can make a decision, Requiem enters the room, throwing in like a grenade of some sort, knocking Cleo and Shauna unconscious. But this was just to get rid of Cleo's mum's ghost, so when she comes back, into consciousness. Cleo goes, "What did you do with my mum?" And she goes, "Nothing that wasn't already done to her, just get rid of her." And then she asks them both, are they companions of him? Of course, referring to the Doctor. However, she doesn't know that the Doctor is a woman now, and that's why, even if they did know that she was talking about the Doctor, they would still be kind of confused, as the last Doctor she met was Matt Smith's Doctor, the 11th Doctor. However, of course, they reply with who to Requiem's question, of course, being Doctor Who. Again, like running gag in this series. Requiem says that she'll take that as a no, and they need to get out of here, and she literally throws this chair out the window, shattering it, saying that more ghosts are coming, and they manage to shut them out somehow, but they need to go. And then we get the reveal. Requiem is revealed to be Madame Vastra. In this episode, voiced by Dune Mackinchin, which makes sense as Requiem was voiced by Dune Mackinchin. However, Madame Vastra is normally played by Neve McIntosh. However, I don't know whether they just weren't able to get her to voice Madame Vastra, but she is not playing Madame Vastra in this episode, which I think is a big mistake, as every other major one, like the Doctor, Rani, they have been played by their normal actor. However, it's not such a big deal. But I still think that there is a missed opportunity. However, Shauna and Cleo says that how can we trust you when you won't even show your face to us? So she says, fine, I will, and she takes off her veil, and Cleo and Shauna are both shocked to see that it is a green face. And Madame Vastra says, yes, an observation, but this world is bigger than your tiny mind can comprehend. And again, she calls them mammals, or something along the line of mammals, and she always used to call humans apes. So of course, this is very in kind with Madame Vastra's character, calling humans apes and always putting them down, as of course the Silurians were on Earth first, so she thinks she has a rightful claim to the planet, but she is still a good guy. So she then tells Shauna and Cleo to jump out the window, which she just threw the chair through, and that will save them. But they're on the 10th floor, as Cleo stated that her mum's flat was on. So surely if they jump, they would die, or at least break their legs, but probably die. So I don't know how Madame Vastra's solution to saving them is to just make them jump off a 10th floor. I mean, that's more like a suicide plan than just getting murdered by ghosts. But maybe there is something that that will save them in the episode, in the next episode, because that is where this episode ends. I am so excited to see Madame Vastra back, but unfortunately, I didn't think this episode really contributed too much to the wider Doctor Who Redacted, where this goes after this episode, and also the wide Doctor Who references. Really, the only big thing was Madame Vastra coming back. But let me know what you thought of this episode down in the comments below. If you like this episode, don't forget to leave a like, also subscribe and share it out. And I will see you in the next one.